Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Robby Soave.
And I'm Amber Duke.
As drone panic reaches a boiling point, the White House addressed recent drone sightings across the Northeast, stating they involve commercial, hobbyist, and law enforcement drones, as well as aircraft and even stars mistaken for drones. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said no anomalies or security risks have been identified, and he added the work continues.
But President-elect Trump and others are sounding the alarm, saying the Biden White House knows more than they're letting on. Let's watch.
You have the president-elect and military base commanders all saying that the Biden administration is not telling the truth. In fact, we had Mayorkas and Kirby on Thursday and Friday both claim that there was no reported or confirmed drone sightings over military bases. It's been widely reported. There was a major investigation in the Wall Street Journal for many months, actually for many years, of drones being over military bases. They then said today, Kirby in that same comment, he said that they evaluated 5,000 cases over the last few days. It's inconceivable to me that they interviewed 5,000 people to figure out where they were standing, what time of day, where they were looking to be able to dismiss all of these cases. You know, look, people do make mistakes. I think there's been a lot of mistaken sightings, without question, maybe a vast majority of them. But I mean, we obtained the conference call between the White House and New Jersey mayors today. The mayors are livid. One of them got up there and said, I had 2 automobile-sized drones hovering over my house.
So, like Michael Schellenberger says, it is certainly the case that some of the things people point to in the sky and say, what is that? Have been planes, have been just the planets that are up there. There's 9 of them, but we're one of them. And also there are drones by just hobbyists, drone enthusiasts. You can make one yourself, etc. That is not all of what's out there. There are certainly cases that go beyond that I think are very likely to be of our government's own origin. They're obeying like airspace regulations consistent with the FAA, which suggests to me it's not just random hobbyist people, but also like the Defense Department doing contracts for these things, which they have announced they were going to do. There's actually nothing very surprising about it if you follow what the Defense Department, the kinds of things they say they're going to do in our airspace. It's not the Iranian mothership. There was one congressman who said that.
Jeff Van Drew.
I agree that it's not malicious foreign origin, because then the Defense Department people would be freaked out. They'd want to shoot them down. That tells you what it is. It's our government.
There was also a New Jersey mayor, I believe, who speculated that they were looking for discarded nuclear material that he had been briefed on. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but the government has put themselves in this position of people being incredibly skeptical about what is actually going on because their statements have been vague at best, right? They've said, well, we don't really know what they are,
but we know it's not foreign threats.
And we know it's not a public security threat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those two things can't be true at the same time. And they also did apparently lie about some of these drones flying over restricted airspace, because in a on background briefing that members of the DoD, FBI, DHS, and FAA did on Saturday, they admitted that several drones had flown over military training bases as well as military airports. And they didn't indicate what those drones were doing there or who they belonged to, just that there were confirmed sightings over those locations. So I think there's reason for people to be concerned, especially when the government's not giving us really a full answer.
Yeah, and we know the government would lie to us no matter what, because they just do so out of habit. I'm hoping we get declassification of a lot of national security topics, COVID topics. That would be fantastic. Now, there's all this interest in space objects lately because of the UAP subject. I think really came back into public consciousness following David Grush, that whistleblower who came forward and was interviewed and did a lot of congressional testimony, and a couple other people came forward making really serious allegations that the federal government possesses crafts that originated off-world, and also the bodies of entities flying them.
Non-human biologics was how they described it.
Right, which really raised my skepticism then when there was no follow-through on that, and they, at some level, and we've, on Rising, which I host, you host sometimes, we've talked to a lot of people in this category who I I'm fully willing to believe, but at some point we got to see the evidence. If people know where these craft are kept, please just disclose that. And I start to get my skepticism triggered by people saying, well, I know someone who knows something, but they can't say something because they are stopping them. Well, who's they? If it's just because you're going to be, prosecuted by the US government, if you're the one who reveals that aliens are real, that doesn't seem plausible to me.
I don't know.
You're so afraid of retaliation.
That person
will protect you.
That person might be unalived if they were to reveal something like that. I would be.
You think so?
Yeah, I'd be incredibly worried if I were the person in possession of that knowledge too. But all of that being said, I don't think this is a case of UAPs.
No.
And one of the things that I find really interesting about Congress people and whistleblowers who have been briefed on this type of information is that they're actually far more concerned about UAPs that are in the ocean than ones that are aerial, because obviously the ocean is so vast, we know so little about it, and a very small percentage of the ocean has actually been explored, and they seem to think that the underwater craft are much more dangerous and far beyond our technological capabilities. But I think the other issue with the foreign threat potentially with the drones is that if it were not Iran, but maybe a country like China or Russia, they would never want to admit that they have been capable of compromising our airspace so easily.
Right.
Just like it took them a week or 14 days or however long to confirm that there was a Chinese spy balloon literally floating across the entire continental US. So just the Biden administration's credibility on this is so shot. They've demonstrated such extraordinary weakness in the face of foreign threats that I think any explanation is possibly on the table.
Right. I mean, Israel easily shot down all of the Iranian proxy groups' attacks on it very recently, which made me skeptical of their ability to have things orbiting our airspace. If you talk to pilots, I mean, going back decades and decades and decades, so many people in the U.S. military, pilots, people operating equipment will say, I mean, they don't say this publicly because they got treated for a long time like they're crazy, but they'll all say they saw things that they could not explain what the origins of them are. That doesn't mean in every case there's a malicious explanation or an explanation beyond human comprehension, just that they didn't know what it was. And I mean, people, even in a non-military capacity, have had that situation happen to them just gazing up at the heavens. And usually there probably is some innocent explanation, you just don't know what it is. But maybe in some cases there's not.
I saw a photo of one of the drones that actually landed or was compromised in some way, fell out of the sky and was picked up and put on the back of a trailer. And I was pretty blown away by the size of this thing. I mean, people are describing like SUV-sized drones. And so you're like, okay, what normal drone hobbyist has this like military-looking SUV-sized drone? And then apparently there's hundreds of confirmed
possibly
sightings.
a lot of readers of Reason magazine.
That's fair. But the amount of them in just New Jersey alone, as you said, they investigated supposedly 5,000 tips. They said on that same briefing call on Saturday that about 100 of them were actually worth following up on. So if that's the number of these size drones that have been spotted over New Jersey or on the eastern seaboard, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's weird.
Did you ever see the movie The Truman Show? I said in a previous segment that we're about the same age, but you're quite a bit younger than I am, I should say. You did see that movie?
I did.
It was a popular movie when I was younger. There's an early scene where, a piece of the sky is fake, falls down, which is starting to give away that it's all a filmed TV show. Maybe that's what's happening.
Could be.
Amber. All right, well, our TV show is over for the week, but we will be back after, not next week, because that's Christmas, and we're taking a little bit of a vacation, but we'll be back the week after that. In the meantime, you can like, share, and subscribe if you want more content from us. Thanks so much for watching.